Formatting. You heard a bit about that yesterday. We have a really big document that is our guidelines for formatting an integrated script and score. We have our reasons for it. It all has to do with making rehearsals easier and having the usage of time so that everybody knows exactly what's going on. Everything's really clear. I don't think that our guidelines are difficult, but you do have to, take a look at them and make sure you're doing them correctly. For book writers, we have rules about margins and indents and how you do stage directions versus character directions and blah, 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 blah. It's not hard. And once you set yourself up a template, you should be able to manage it. We also have pretty strict rules about how to designate that a song is about to start and have it happen on a new page, the lyrics on a new page, and then the score on a new page. That's one of the hardest things for people to get a hold of, but our rationale for that is that when you go into rehearsal, some of the actors will ultimately, like if you're doing a reading, if you're doing a production, it's a little different because when you reach a certain point in the production, everybody throws their scripts away anyway because they've memorized it, and that's true of the 15-minute musicals. But in rehearsals initially and in workshops and readings, which is where most musicals start out and live for a while, is in workshops and readings, people are going to have their scripts in their hands. And so some actors are going to they learn music really quickly, but they're going to want the lyrics in front of them, but they don't want to be flipping pages for the music. They don't want, because you have to keep turning pages, whereas you can put your whole lyric on one page. I'm that kind of actor. I want to see my lyric on the page. I'll take my music out by the time we get to the reading, but I want my lyrics on the page. Other actors can't, they really need to have that music there, so they'll take the lyrics out and just look at the music. Now, the only way that you can take either the lyrics or the music out without losing something is to make sure there's nothing on the other side of the page when you're printing a double-sided document. If I pull my lyrics out and I'm missing the last page of book or the first page of score, then the whole thing is defeated. So that's why you always have to turn a page and then leave a blank page so that the lyrics, so all that will become clear as we go along. The reason I'm bringing it up now is because I will be asking you as we progress from assignment to assignment, I will be asking you to start to implement this. And the idea is you have many months to practice, get it right, get it organized. So by the time you get to the 15-minute musicals, you should be able to have it mastered, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. But really take that seriously between now and then so you aren't waiting until right before the 15-minute musicals to figure it out. Book writers, not too tough for you guys. Lyricists, you totally get to ride this. You so luck out because basically you send your lyrics to the composer and to the book writer, and the book writer has to format them and put them in the book, and the composer has to get them into the score. You don't have to have anything to do with that, basically. Now, there are some lyricists who are really tech savvy who will help, and they'll say, no, I'll do it, that'll be fine, I'll take care of it. That would be lovely. But often lyricists can get away without doing anything at all. Composers, man, you got a lot on your plate because already you're notating the music, and then we have rules about how to designate who's singing, and we don't want you to write multiple characters on one line because when people are reading, it's better if which means you're going to use more paper. We don't let you use repeats. If the second verse, no, we don't go back because that means people have to flip their pages backwards. Can't put men and women on the same staff because that doesn't work in singers' brains. They don't know what octave am I in? I don't understand. So there are a lot of things like that make it easier and for the people who are working on it, but not so easy necessarily for the composer. Chord symbols, for instance, and this is I don't think I'm doing it as a handout right now, but later I will. There's a handout from, I believe his name is Stephen Lutvak, who wrote the score for Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. And he has a whole foreword in front of his score that's fascinating, where he basically talks about how he was one of the kind of composers, and there are many, including Sondheim, who thinks that their chords are so gloriously beautiful and complex that they cannot be represented by a chord symbol. And they're right. They're right, that's true. When your chords are really complex and interesting and beauteous, they cannot be accurately and fully represented by a chord symbol. And so some of those kinds of composers say, well, then I'm not putting chord symbols in my score because I don't want people to play the chord instead of, the chord symbol chord instead of my beautiful, glorious chord. They're ruining my score. And what Stephen Ludwig understood finally, and why he put chord symbols in his published score for Gentleman's Guide, is that initially, when it's in rehearsal, your pianist will bow down and kiss your feet if you give them chords, because they've got a lot going on. They haven't learned it yet. All the singers want support, so they have to be playing the singers' lines at the same time that they're playing the score. There's a lot that they have to manage. And so if you just give them some chords, they can get close to your score during rehearsals. That does not mean that they intend to not play your score for performance. It does not mean that. They are a rehearsal tool. They're not a replacement for your score. So we will continue to really insist. You gotta get the chord symbols in there. And our pianists, when we get to that point where we start, especially with the 15-minute musicals, our pianists will thank you, because rehearsals go so much better if you do that. Let's see. The one other thing is that it would be useful, if you don't already have one, especially for either book writers or composers or someone, because it's important that at least one person on your team has some kind of a PDF editing program. That's a big ask, because the main one, Acrobat, is expensive. And so I'm not suggesting that you have to rush out and buy that, but I would, and I've been trying, if anybody finds some, I used to have a list of some of the cheaper ones or free ones out there that will at least do what we need for this class. And my list seems to not be working anymore. So if somebody has ideas, let me know.
Do you offer Zotodocs?
I have not heard about that one.
I get by with that one.
All right.
It's XODO docs. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll check it out. What you need to be able to do is you need to be able to combine PDFs. So in other words, the book writer will make a PDF of their of the document that has the dialogue and the lyrics, and the composer will make PDFs of all their scores. That part of it shouldn't be hard for anybody to create the PDFs, but somebody has to be able to combine those PDFs so that the scores pages can be inserted in between where they belong after each lyric. We don't just hurl the score at the end. So you need to be able to combine PDFs, and you need to be able to create a running page number that will once you've combined everything, will allow you to have a running page number throughout the whole script and score, because the score will have its own page numbers and the book and lyrics will have their own page numbers, because they often do wind up in the world separately, right? And so they do need their own page numbers. But when you're in rehearsal and somebody says turn to page 6, you don't want everyone going page 6 of the score or page 6 of the book, so we use a running page number, and that's what we refer to. So those are the things you need a PDF editor to be able to do. That's it. Combine PDFs.
Preview do that?
I don't know. So, but please, experiment, folks, and let me know. I'm more than happy to make a list and make sure everybody knows what's available. I happen to have Acrobat, so, okay.